as we're about to head into the final series of the day. The one and only, it's the Dallas Fuel versus the San Francisco Shock. Bound to be an absolute banger, and I'm looking forward to it personally because the Dallas Fuel have been playing up to their opponents, so to speak. You know, you've got Decay, you've got Doha, they've been working well together, and the San Francisco Shock are always as dominant as ever. Sounds like Josh might not even be here. I'm not sure. Am I talking to myself? I'm talking to myself. But that's besides the point. Josh? Josh? Sideshow Gaming. Sideshow Gaming? Sideshow Gaming? Sideshow Gaming. We're not here just yet. I don't know what he's doing. Might be plugging in his headset. But besides the point, we do have a match at hand. I can start running through, I guess, the teams themselves. We can start with the starting opening roster for the Dallas Fuel. It's going to be Doha and Decay, as you might imagine. I'm just going to pull it up as well for myself, for my own notes itself.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Josh. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hi.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, dude.
Thanks. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. We're just talking about the starting lineups.
Be honest with you, I thought that was a longer break than it actually was, but instead, just get my makeup done live. So
well,
there's a little.
I'll tell you what, though, Josh. At least you're actually getting your makeup done because I'm an idiot. I left my powder and brush upstairs, so I've slowly been sweltering and sweating to death in this box, and I presumably my face is nice and shiny. But the match at hand, Dallas Fuel versus the San Francisco Shock. You know, as always, we are the pinnacle of professionalism, and we were just talking about the Dallas Fuel roster. So far, we've seen some absolute magic coming out of Decay and Doha.
We really have. I mean, Decay has put his name forward for like an MVP caliber DPS player. He's absolutely monstrous. And Doha is right there behind him, kind of propping up everything that they do. It seems like the tanks and supports and the teamwork generally isn't quite there for Dallas, but they've got some great strategies on some certain maps, and Decay and Doha are enough for any team.
Yeah. And on the other side of that, we've got, of course, the San Francisco Shock, which is always the dominant force. Except, you know, there was a couple of weeks ago, they had a bit some struggles against the Los Angeles teams, both the Gladiators and the Valiant. But since then, they have turned it around. They've still looked quite dominant. And given the compositions that we've been seeing being played, sort of the meta compositions, especially with Lucio still available in the pool, I got to say, this looks like a good week for the San Francisco Shock.
It definitely does, as long as they can sort out their May situation. Because you think back to when these teams first played against each other back in week 1, I think it was, you know, one of our absolute opening games of 2020. Yeah. It was Sinatra playing the May, and they didn't look particularly comfortable with it. They ended up flexing away from it a lot, and that ended up being, you know, a relatively close series, considering it was our defending champions playing against the Dallas Fuel. So I think that with Rascal expected to come in here and play the May here for the San Francisco Shock, they should be looking a little bit better.
Yeah, and in terms of the match at hand, I think a lot of the Dallas fans are going to be a little bit annoyed that they have to keep going up against some of these very strong teams. You know, there's some teams that have gotten off scot-free when they've been playing against the weaker side of the division. Dallas, unfortunately, with where they are placed in the world, they do have to constantly go up against a lot of these West Coast teams, which often end up being some of the stronger teams that we have available in the league. But they have been making the improvements, as we said. Now, I believe if we take a look at the map set that we're going to be going into, the first one is Ilios, which is always a fan favorite.
Ilios?
Big fan of Ilios.
Do you mean Lijiang Tower?
Oh, sorry, Lijiang Tower. My mistake.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at Lijiang Tower right now. I don't know why I said Ilios.
Yeah, I want to point out as well that the maps where the Fuel have been good so far, in my opinion, have been the assault maps. It's where we've seen Doha come out on the Junkrat. It's where we've seen them really be able to full hold teams. It was the map, it was Horizon Lunar Colony, the assault map, that they ended up winning against the San Francisco Shock. But that's our 4th map of the series today, so they might not even be able to get there. They need to get one of the wins earlier on in the series to be able to push it to a 4th map. And this Control is, I think, their best bet. That when the last time these two teams faced, Oasis was insanely close. I think you could argue, looking at the replay, that Dallas Fuel should have won it. So I'm hoping for huge plays coming out from Decay and Doha here to put them level with the San Francisco Shock and give them a chance to win Lijiang.
Shock going to be going for Rascal on the May, and he is obviously one of those star players that you can always count on. Rascal was my choice for the MVP of this year. Let's see if he's up to scratch now, as both teams are going to start to clash putting in the damage on the side. Choi going to be going for the accretion off around the angles. Not really finding any targets, but damage still being peppered into the Dallas Fuel. They are being able to just out-rotating one another, if you will. The San Francisco Shock finding positioning onto the point. Dallas having to waddle into them, and now they want to go aggressively. Look at this, Violet using his shift aggressively, fading right into the back line. They get the initial kill here onto Note, the Coalescence, very fast, but Dallas answer back with one of their own. Coalescence comes out a little bit later for them now, as Crimso's going to look to try and even up this fight, but it's not enough. The damage output from the San Francisco Shock, far too much. The San Francisco Shock are going to be the ones to take over this point and recap it in their favor, or at least cap it initially.
This is the defending champions. This is the kind of form that we hope the Shock were going to be in. Absolutely dominant. Their decision-making with these Lucio speed boosts is sublime, and Moth's looking for a little bit of a boop here.
Hiding patiently.
These people.
They don't know he's there yet, but here we
The
go.
halt,
Oh, the
the
halt
boop.
into the boop! It's beautiful! Moth, you absolute legend! Wow! Oh, my
And of course,
goodness.
Smurf to set that up as well. We've seen that play already today coming out from the Florida Mayhem, but San Francisco Shock, even better than the Florida Mayhem were doing it. Smurf and Moth combined together for 3. And Doha has his EMP, so that was perfect to be able to buy time for Moth to get the sound barrier, for Rascal to get his Blizzard, to give them some ults to counter Doha's.
The aggression that they're playing into them here. They know they have EMP. They're playing full tempo straight into them, not letting Dallas take control of the tempo of the game. And this is exactly where the San Francisco Shock are really prevalent. They love to play this high-tempo style. They love to play aggressively. And Doha, he's left. Look at him. He's in the back line. He's waiting. He's saying, guys, I need an opportunity to use this EMP, but you've got to try and let me get in there.
Yep. Forged in the fires of running Batiste Goats against Sombra Goats, this San Francisco Shock knows how to be aggressive against an EMP. And there it is. EMP comes out, catches Rascal and Striker, who both die before Moth's sound barrier can be popped.
I just want to say, fantastic plays from Doha. Use the EMP, caught onto a lot of them, forced out a sound barrier, but then getting the hack onto Violet mid-coalescence, cancelling it, was excellent. That was giving Dallas the opening they needed to really start to win this one now. As you can see with these pickoffs, they are going to be able to slowly recontest and recap this point up. Striker is going to be buying them a couple of ult percentage here. Or, sorry, capture percentage, I should say. But
and now the
90%.
question becomes, Brent.
Say again?
Now the question becomes, can the San Francisco Shock play aggressive enough to get a team fight win before Doha gets his next EMP? Because Dallas have all the pieces they need to be able to back off, slow down the San Francisco Shock, utilize ults just to make sure that they don't lose people, and then win the next fight with an EMP again. Doha built 45%, just cleaning people up after the EMP.
A lot of ults online for the Dallas Fuel. You can see them using that supercharger and the Coalescence. That is a deadly combination of ultimates. You can see the damage is being flowed through the opposition. San Francisco Shock did not stand a chance. The only saving grace, the team fight ended soon. It ended quickly. They didn't drag it out. They didn't give Dallas
It was merciful.
unintended capture percentage.
Yeah, Dallas did lose Doha there, but it doesn't matter because the EMP was never going to be needed when you lose, when San Francisco lose 2 players really early on. But a little more even in the ult scenario now. Dallas could play aggro with the Flux, but I expect them to EMP this fight.
Doha, hack, doesn't quite connect. I think Choi Hoban ended up cleansing it there, but we're going to see ultimate's being traded here. The point flipped back into the favor of the San Francisco Shock. Nice hack, though, onto Rascal. He has his Blizzard, can't use it. Now opts to just unload it. Nice hold into it. Decay gets 2, and Decay gets 3. Cleaning up right when it was necessary. Despite the fact that San Francisco Shock used the ultimates, they managed to connect the players. They managed to lock them down with the Blizzard. But that's okay, because Dallas Fuel, they have those star players ready to just make the plays when necessary.
And this is the difference. This is a high-quality Overwatch match. They're saving the EMP, as Shawfall was trying to do in the previous game, but Dallas are playing so high-tempo with the rest of their ults, putting the pressure on the Shock, and Rascal has made the swap over to Tracer. This is final fight, and Doha still has that EMP available, and Moth nowhere near a sound barrier.
Rascal and Tracer. It's been a while since we've seen this. Supercharger laid down, but Crimzo removes it. Gamsu gets the kill. The sound barrier, the EMP. It's all looking good for Dallas. They find the pickoffs, and San Francisco Shock, they're left wanting. Striker, the lone soldier on the point, has to fade away to trigger the overtime, but they're chasing them down, and no one can touch. The Dallas Fuel take the initial round here in control. Great high-tempo plays.
That is so good from Dallas. This may be the best that we've ever seen this kind of team perform. They've still got that amazing, powerful DPS potential coming out from Decay and Doha, but the team play was what won them that round. And if they can keep up that level of team play, the perfect ult cycling, the ability from Doha to scout and give intel and wait to use his EMP to the final fight, if they keep playing like this, San Francisco Shock have got a game on their hands, and they don't look to be slouching either.
Is this really the time of the Dallas fans been promised, you know, when they saw Doha, Decay being introduced into this team? They were told over and over and over again, this is the time, this is Dallas's time to finally be a top team.
Reaper Doomfist.
They're proving it here.
Doha's Doomfist is very good.
Doha's Doomfist is very, very good. One of the reasons he's been picked up. San Francisco Shock going to be going for the Symmetra comp. You often see it on this section of Lijiang. Doha taking a lot of chunk damage. Almost died there. He was on a sliver of HP, had to get healed up. See these right clicks from Striker. He's just sending them in, searching for an opportunity. Look at that. They end up just flying in. Dallas looking for opportunities. The rocket punch doesn't connect. Doha goes for it again and puts in the damage, I believe, into Smurf. Smashing him against the wall into a collection of robot parts. The San Francisco Shock are falling so low, enough that Decay can just waltz in and clean them up with the help of Crimso's Coalescence.
I don't think that San Francisco realized they were going to run Doha on the Doomfist, because the Symmetra is not good against the Doomfist. Symmetra has to play so much more passive when the Doom is around, because she's worried about just getting punched and instantly removed from the fight. And so Striker swaps off the Symmetra, despite the fact he was doing a lot of work, doing a lot of damage. He just couldn't play as aggro as he would have liked, because the Doomfist is a great counter to that kind of composition. A Rascal with his Blizzard could be enormous here, but Doha has made magic happen before, and Decay's actually hiding on the left.
Decay gets spotted, they check the corner, and now we see the ultimates coming out here. Coalescence, Prophetic, Flux connects onto tons of players. The San Francisco Shock in a bit of trouble here, but the Blizzard is going to be locking up enough players. Doha, Decay, Gamsu, they all fall. And the San Francisco Shock happily able to just clean up the remainers, clean up the leftovers, and they are going to recap this point over in their favor. But so far, Dallas are the ones who have been in control of this series.
They certainly are. This could be where the momentum shifts, though. May Reaper is a very good comp against Reaper Doomfist. It's got a lot of mobility, you can play very fast, and it's down to Doha to have some huge performances. Moth goes for a boop off the high ground. A lot of ults available here for the Shock as well, and they take down Note very early on.
Yeah, that was all Moth's boop then. He set that kill up on Note, knocked him onto the low ground, and Dallas were too slow to react. If they jumped down to try and save him and peel for him, they weren't quite there in time, and he got just wiped off the map, giving San Francisco Shock some precious seconds, some more capture point. You can see Moth just hiding in the rafters. Now he's going to regroup with the rest of his team. And it's go time for Dallas. They want to initiate fast and hard here with the Coalescence. Straight into them. Seeing if they get any kills. Striker TPs into the back line. Though we're going to be going for a immediate strike of his own, though, as the Prophetic Flux goes off in the back line. Lays it down into the hold. Booms back, though. That's by Moth. Moth peeling for his team effectively, along with the sound barrier. Great plays by him, and they brought down Doha. A lot of the damage now going to be missing from the Dallas Fuel's composition. Striker TPing into the back line, and the Hellfire shotguns are going to shred through the Dallas Fuel as the San Francisco Shock are going to hold on to the point once more.
San Francisco are just so good at being able to put pressure on Doha. He's not able to find these picks with his Doomfist. He keeps getting walled off. He's getting booped all over the place by Moth. He's getting pressured and attacked from all different regions. So he makes the swap over to the May. And now in a mirror fight, the San Francisco Shock have all the advantages. They have that Blizzard available.
Prophetic Flux into the hole once more. This is the Dallas Fuel's time to shine. They're going to see if they can get anything done here, but the Shock, they answer back with the Coalescence. They use it to top up the rest of their team, keeping them nice and healthy. Striker has the Death Blossom. He TPs. He's looking for an opportunity to use it. Decay in the backline is going to trigger that overtime. Uses the Death Blossom, but gets 8 up now, and Rascal is able to get the pick. Close is going to try and shift this point over into their favor, but Dallas Fuel have lost the duel on the front line. And the San Francisco Shock now, they've got so many picks, they can just split up and take the attack on both approaches, both fronts of the battle, if you will. Only a few players left remaining. The San Francisco Shock, they get enough kills that they're able to just cleanly close out that round. This is going the distance.
Yes, it certainly is. Third round. This is exactly how the previous match between these two teams happened. It came down to the final round and a clutch moment from Striker, and that was really the only reason that San Francisco came out with the victory. I will be surprised here if Striker continues to run the Symmetra, because he knows that Doha now has been playing quite a bit of Doom.
The point, I think.
Yeah, the symmetry is much worse on this map, so I would be surprised if we see it again. It seems like it's going to be Reaper Doomfist against May Reaper once again, though, and San Francisco Shock know how to stop Doha from getting value so well. They seem to be right back to their previous championship form, the San Francisco Shock.
Dallas are right there next to him, playing up to the potential. Doha gets yoinked back, though. He's so low. He's caught out of no man's land. But it seems that Smurf is the one to fall instead. Incredible peel from the Dallas Fuel squad. The seismic slam to regroup, to recontest. The Dallas Fuel are doing it. They get the pickoffs they need. They find them one by one by one. The San Francisco Shock will fall. And the Dallas Fuel are going to take this initial capture now on the third round of Control.
The Doomfist, very much more powerful when you're in control of the point. It gives Doha many more angles to work from. Shock have to keep looking at their corners, looking at their backs, wondering about whether he's coming from the high ground. That's exactly where he's positioned at the moment.
Early Coalescence going to be used by the Shock. No casualties though. Dallas are able to just mitigate it. Crimzo uses his own now to see if he can get any picks. Meteor Strike forced by Doha. He needs to just use it to get out, but he gets a pick with it. Choi ends up going down. The punch connects. Doha has the shields, but he's yoinked and halted back, but that does not matter because Dallas are playing aggressive. They've worked their way around, a bit of a pincer maneuver, if you will. And the San Francisco Shock are in trouble. Backpedaling out of here, Dallas in control. This is fantastic from Dallas Fuel. This is what their fans have been promised for 2 years now.
Yep, the ability to go toe-to-toe with the best teams in the league. That's what adding Doha and Decay to this lineup has managed. But also, the team play is just so much better. Look how fast the San Francisco Shock are. Caught up, though. Sound barrier force for the Dallas Fuel.
And Doha with the backline. Violet goes down. Mob using the sound barrier just to stay competitive in this fight. The Shock could still turn this in their favor, but no, with a beautiful gravitic flux. It's very even across the board as it stands. Note sealed up from the rest of his team. Gamsu just trying to be kept alive right now by the Coalescence, but the Shock are moving forward. They have the shield pressure. They're trying to play aggressive into them. Anyone's game. Decay ends up using the Death Blossom, takes out Smurf. He's going for more now. The Hellfire shotguns ripping through the opposition. The hold doesn't quite connect. The Shock forced to disengage because we are in final fight territory.
And really, what do the Shock have to work with? Basically nothing. A Striker Death Blossom. A big flank from Striker is really the only thing that saves this for Dallas. Doha can play so much more aggressive because he has the Meteor Strike, and they've also got a Coalescence.
Meteor Strike used now. Holt moves into the backline. Choi Hobin so weak. It chunks him down. So much damage. The Dallas Fuel are doing it. Only a couple of steps away from potentially taking the first map against the San Francisco Shock. And as the overtime trickles down, both the support ults are all for naught. The Shock support line are trying their hardest, but it's all for naught, as I said once more. Choi Hyobin on the ball just to stall it out. Dallas Fuel have only just got to force them off the point, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Dallas Fuel winning map number 1 against the San Francisco Shock.
Well, this is looking like a day of upsets here, Bren. The Florida Mayhem takes it against the Paris Eternal, and Dallas start out with a win on Control. This team has been capable of making it close against Shock and other good teams in the past, but the thing about Dallas was they always choked when it came to the end. Well, not in that round. They dominantly shut the door in the San Francisco Shock's face, and this team, it's looking clean.
Yeah. We are absolutely being treated here. If the previous match was almost like, the entree, it's kind of setting your expectations reasonably low. You've got a bar there to meet. It met it. This series has just taken it to another level. The flavors are all over the place. They're marinating their carrots in butter. They're frying it, baby. They're serving it up. It doesn't matter. It's all delicious. And we're going to be seeing even more of it after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, helping you stay connected to what matters most. Learn about T-Mobile's COVID-19 response on T-Mobile.com.
And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury. With HyperX Fury Memory.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League. You've joined us at a pivotal moment in potentially Overwatch League history. We're here for the Dallas Fuel versus the San Francisco Shock. Currently, the Dallas Fuel are leading one map against the San Francisco Shock, the defending champions. These are words that I didn't think I'd be uttering today, but the Dallas Fuel, they haven't been winning with cheese. It has been pure skill, mechanical ability, and teamwork. This is a new Dallas Fuel that we're seeing, and it is very exciting.
It really is. I mean, we've seen glimmers of it before in the past. We saw when Dallas went up against Shock in week 1 that they were able to come out on top when they have a specific strategy, like Doha playing the Junkrat on Assault. And then when Dallas played against Gladiators, they were close, but they choked in the important moments. When Dallas played against the Valiant, they needed Decay to have a monstrous performance to be able to win that series in a close 5-map game. So they've always been near to being able to put up a really close game against the top teams. But in that map 1, we just saw them outplay the San Francisco Shock. And it's not like the Shock were playing badly. Both teams playing very high tempo. Both teams playing, fast and loose and aggressive with their ults. But Doha, with so much value from his Doomfist, something we haven't really seen from anybody else in the league so far.
Some teams have been attempting it with the Doomfist, and haven't really been getting the same results. And Doha is a player that was picked up because of his prowess on the Doomfist, because of his prowess on the Soundbar as well. So it's good to see them being utilized, every single skill set that he has, and coming out with the win now as we head over to Rialto. This is a map where you can see similar compositions. I'm inclined to believe that it's less likely you might just be seeing some May compositions being mirrored up here, just because of the nature of the map.
I think Dallas will try and force this Doom as much as they can. Partly because I think it can be playable on Rialto, but also because Dallas forced Decay on Tracer against a Torbjorn for an entire series. So if they're going to force that, they're probably going to force whatever they want to play. I don't think we'll see Dallas crumble under the pressure and end up mirroring the Shock, unless they want to. Dallas are going to play what they want to play this match, I think.
In this match, it appears to be that they are going to be opting into the Farah Hangzhou. A lot of shield break with this composition. They're on the defense. When you look at this comp, it's all about the damage boosted rockets. It's about the long range pick potential from the Hangzhou arrows. And that's what they're going to be searching for. Let's go for a nice little trip through the canals of Venice.
They make me worried because falling into them is instant death. We can't swim in the world of Overwatch, so I'm worried about boats.
Highly radioactive water this far into the future.
Right, okay.
Pollution, a real problem, you know.
Well, what's the San Francisco Shock's reply? I would assume they're going to swap their composition up, and it's going to be the Soldier Tracer.
Okay.
So the Tracer is designed to distract the backline, distract Decay, and while the Soldier puts down consistent damage. What a Bionade, though.
Yep, pretty big. Rascal and Choi are going to be caught with it, along with the accretion. But the Shock are getting a bit of free push here for now. Obviously, Choi on the Diva as well is just there to eat up as many rockets as possible, give a bit more pressure. But Decay finding those picks. Violet going down. That is the power of this Hangzhou composition. You get that one-shot potential across the map. All you need to do is hit one headshot, and you're laughing all the way to the bank. In this case, the bank being potentially a win against the defending champions.
Striker is one of the best tracers that we've ever seen in Overwatch. Up there at the #1 position with like Sabiorbi, maybe Prophet, these kind of players. If he can get an opportunity into the backlines of Dallas, wow. That tracking from Rascal as well.
Yep, a lot of damage, and they brought him down. They've taken possession of the body. It means they can't go for a resurrect. They're taking the positioning. The San Francisco Shock are able to just waltz in there.
Yeah, that single pick from Decay is really the only thing that Dallas have been able to do. Otherwise, Shock have been patient with how they've taken position across the map. They haven't rushed anything, but they've just applied constant pressure to the Dallas Fuel's DPS until eventually they crumbled.
Still waddling forwards now. Have the players. And I have control of this choke point. This is often one of the most difficult points to break in Rialto, just on the basis of it is a very narrow choke point. But look at the way Shock are playing. Quite split up, looking for opportunities elsewhere, but now they're going to regroup and repush now that the cooldowns are online. See if they can go for some of that shield spam. Decay goes for the Dragon Strike off to the side. Going to be splitting up the enemy team. Rascal, though, the Helix rockets connect onto Doha.
Was that an aerial Helix?
Yeah, he actually went for him when he was ulting, so it was an easy shot to get.
Oh, okay.
So nothing too impressive, but still, they take out the necessary targets. Now Violent on the back is going to be showing what he's made of. Note gets the nano boost, but I don't think it's going to be good for much. Doha booped back as well as he tries to make the play on the Doomfist, but as the rest of the Dallas Fuel just try and lump bodies onto the point to contest, the Shock will get the capture point. They will get the final say. 4 minutes now to work with.
Violet on the Batiste as well is an outrageously good Batiste in terms of how aggressive he is and the damage he's able to put out. The guy's aim for a flag support is unbelievably good, and he will frequently just position himself with his own amp matrix and kill 3 or 4 people in ranked. I have no doubts that he would be able to do the same kind of thing at an Overwatch League level if you give him an opportunity to.
Dallas playing aggressive, and they force him away. Rascal tries to go for some sort of play with the tactical visor here, falls very, very low, forces out the ice block though, and that's more valuable than you think, because look at the kills flowing in for them. Closer goes for a little boop attempt, but he's going to be pinned against the wall. Decay TPing into the backline. He's still alive for now. Eventually, Shock will overrun him. And they are going to keep pushing this car forwards. And that is a dangerous fight to lose if you're Dallas, because they've given up the precious high ground around this corner.
Yeah, the San Francisco Shock are rolling at the moment. And with Decay swapping over to the Reaper and Doha on the May, Rascal also respects the May pick and runs it. But Striker on the Tracer. We haven't seen too much of his POV yet, but we know how deadly this guy can be.
He's just spotting, actually. He's just trying to essentially hunt for any flanks. Nice little hold. Pulls him away from the high ground now. Along with the bomb into the back line. Choi Hyobin. He gets value with it. Striker lays down the pulse bomb, but the Ice Wall actually blocked it from his own teammate. Rascal not letting him get the damage done, but the beat down is more than enough. It's a brutal bit of damage. Brutal work when it's up close and personal like that, but it gets the job done. And the San Francisco Shock are rolling this one in, and this is giving me flashbacks almost to, you know, last year when we used to see the San Francisco Shock play against the Vancouver Titans, and we would see them on Rialto, and the teams would just answer back after, you know, the Titans would take one map, and the Shock would answer back with a rapid time of their own on Rialto.
Absolutely. It's a map that the Shock are incredibly good at. But Dallas have some ults to be able to work with here. Great opportunity for Dallas to be able to win. The Shock don't have that much, so they're really going to prioritize high ground control, positioning, a good May wall here, play a little bit more slowly.
Prophetic Flux into them. Instant Soundbar going to be used by Mock to keep them alive. A necessary evil at the end of the day. The Coalescence from the Dallas Fuel is not really finding any kills, but look at that! Decay layers down the Death Blossom alongside the Supercharger, and it's just too much damage to ignore, especially when they didn't have a sound barrier. Nice little clean sweep there from the San Francisco Shock. They're going to be sent straight back packing.
I imagine that this is the position that the Dallas Fuel want to hold. They have control of the high ground. If the Shock retake the high ground, then Dallas can play aggressively into them with the Blizzard or with the sound barrier. This seems like a place where Dallas can tick off a lot of time on this clock.
See Coalescence now unleashed by Violet, washing down the opposition, the Blizzard as well.
Why aren't Dallas using
ult?
ult?
Them out of the position here. Dallas, they just back off. They let them get it for free. Not really utilizing anything.
I'm surprised there. I thought that Dallas were going to be the ones to use the Blizzard themselves and try and put the pressure on the San Francisco Shock. But instead, they just eat the damage coming in with the Coalescence and choose instead to fight in this archway. The problem is, now Shock have a bit of momentum. They've already entered through the choke point, and they have a Supercharger to work with. I think Dallas have misplayed this a bit.
We'll see now how they utilize it, because you can see Choi is very close to this Prophetic Flux of his own. He hits the shots, the accretion just misses. Ice block going to be used here. Now the Blizzard in the backline. Choi goes down before he can use the Flux. Now we see the enemy team, Dallas, using one of their own. Send them straight up in the air, straight back down again. Smurf, mistimed to fortify. The Shock have to back out of here. They've lost both their tanks.
Yep, so Dallas able to hold with only about 4 meters before the final checkpoint. With a minute and a half left, this is the hardest place to push on Rialto, bar none. This is really tough to be able to get through this final archway. But the San Francisco Shock have got a lot of ultimates to be able to work with here. A Flux and nothing to respond with on the side of the Dallas Fuel. Double supportal, nothing to respond with on Dallas. Dallas need to make a play here.
Yeah, that's why Crimson switched over to the Batiste now. They need that Immortality field to try and negate something. Decay gets caught out of position. Striker, he TP'd into the backline. A Prophetic Flux sends all of them flying into the air. Straight back down again. Immortality field will keep them alive. But unfortunately, the damage was done. Dallas Fuel far too low to try and withstand that. The sound barrier on top is going to be doing enough, and that quick little headshot there from Striker onto Decay while he was frozen up means that the Dallas Fuel are able to cap it all the way to the end. 56 seconds in their time bank.
A very fast completion from the San Francisco Shock on Rialto, but we expect nothing less.
A reminder to everybody as well that you can show your team spirit, you know, by decking out your hero with a team skin. You can buy in-game using the Overwatch League tokens, or alternatively, you can get 100 free OWL tokens. That's right, I know you're all spamming exclamation mark tokens in the chat right now, but listen, if you go to overwatchleague.com/email, sign up for the league updates, you get 100 free OWL tokens. And if you're already signed up for the emails, doesn't matter, you can still get the free tokens anyway. So why not? Go to overwatchleague.com/email, get your free tokens, and, you know, maybe use it on the new hero, Echo, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
Anything, you know. You can spend those 100 tokens. You can wait a while. You can save them up. Save up your pocket change, if you will, for one of the fancy anniversary skins that might be coming out soon.
You could get the new Doomfist skin from the San Francisco Shock.
Is that still available?
I've no idea. Is it still available? Am I just telling the people lies?
You might be.
Who knows?
Yeah, you might be telling the people lies. But they haven't released the San Francisco Shock MVP skin yet. So
True.
You'll be able to get that.
That's Sinatra's MVP skin,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So we have yet to see that unveiled. So save up your tokens for that, or spend them. I don't care what you do with your tokens, honestly. Just make sure you get them.
Well, here we are.
All right.
Dallas Fuel opting for the same composition they did on the defense. Going to go for the fire and the Hangzhou. The name of the game in this comp is the same. It hasn't changed from one round to the next. They still are going for long-range damage with the Hangzhou arrows, you can see, along with the damage-boosted rockets to see if they can get a pick-off. It's all around the damage.
Halt accretion there actually landed onto Closer. Knocked him out of the sky for a while, but nobody was there to capitalize.
Big Bionade. Oh my word. Crimzo.
But another Halt accretion.
Yeah, but Crimzo goes for an aggressive angle there to connect onto the Bionade, but he gets punished immediately with the Halt accretion. Wonderful by the Shock. Answering back straight away.
Dallas are slowly pushing them into unfavorable positions, though. And they're actually just running down Note.
All right, Note caught out of position. I mean, not a lot of teams would be as explosive. Spotting a weakness there, and another Halt accretion onto Doha brings him down. They went for the res onto Note, but Doha's down.
Yep. This is such great play coming out from the San Francisco Shock, both from their tank line and from Moth, guiding them around the map with these speed boosts.
Sleeping on the job here, Rascal caught. Smurf has to try and defend him. Doesn't go down. Big Bionade onto the tank line of Shock, but it fades. And now they're going for the big wraparound here. The Coalescence into it. The aggression playing straight into them. Halt comes in though! Doha! Oh my goodness! 4 kills. That's a lot of work, pal. There you go.
What an unbelievably good play there from the Dallas Fuel, reading the aggression coming out from San Francisco because they know that they like to play aggressive, and a perfect halt from Gansu, synced up with Doha. Yeah. Wonderful.
So sick to see Dallas playing at a high level. As I said, as we've been promised for the longest time. Now the Dragon Strike, the Hulk comes through. Choi Hyobin caught, and that's the damage. It's through, baby. Look at the nano boost. Look at the damage boost. There's too much. They can't deal with it. 4 kills for Doha. Make it 5. Give him the 6. Do it. Beautiful stuff. I love to see it. Dallas Fuel rolling forward.
And they've forced the swaps from San Francisco. Rascal again going onto the Soldier. And this is perfect because for Dallas, when they're attacking, they can change compositions whenever they want. They could go back into spawn right now, switch over to the Reaper May, and roll over San Francisco. Now, assuming that Striker doesn't pull out something godly. But they're going to try and make it work with one more barrage, I think. Another nice Bionade onto Smurf, knocks him down to half health before he gets a supercharger.
Yeah, tank line forced back a little bit by that Shock, but the question is, can they break through this point here? They use it there. Oh, the barrage gets a lot of value. More than I was expecting. 2 kills is wonderful. And now these rockets are going to be sent into the fray. 8 up by Choi Hyobin, but
I thought that was deliberate. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was a deliberate bait of the barrage from Smurf. But then he ends up dying and Rascal dies as well. That did not go well for the San Francisco Shock. They are firmly on the back foot. 3 minutes and looking to capture point B.
Giving them free positioning here now. You can see they're trying to force down a supercharger. Both teams' superchargers going to be falling here. The Shock, though, have the aggression. They've speed boosted into the backline. They're going to be looking for any kills they can get, and they find them. The front line ends up collapsing. The only remaining member is Doha, but Doha's going to have to evacuate his way out of there, and he does just that as Striker takes him out.
I'm expecting to see composition swaps here from Dallas. And I think that Rascal is going back to spawn in order to swap as well. It looks like Striker is too. So they're reading this really nicely, the Shock. They recognize that with how devastating of a loss that previous fight was, Dallas are more likely to make swaps. So they preemptively send their DPS back. This is going to give Dallas a bit of an opportunity to enter, but at least the compositions are good.
Played so fast into it, but Moth was there with his Soundbar. He negates the Gravitic Flux. Doha playing quite defensively now. He fell down to about half HP, had to back off around the corner. The Shock already on waiting. You see the accretion come out, it knocks Doha down. That was a preemptive accretion. They knew the play was going to be made by Doha. Great read from the Shock, able to capitalize off the aggression from Dallas. Playing right into their hands now. And it's only a matter of time before they clean up the rest of these members of Dallas. Dallas forced to back off here, another accretion connects, Note falling low. And this is the Shock just really reading these team fights well.
I wonder if the Dallas Fuel attempted now to go back to a split composition. Play the Hanzo, play the Pharah, something like that. Then I don't think they're going to. They're going to still invest in this Reaper Doomfist versus the Reaper May. But it was an opportunity with 2 minutes left on the clock. The lower this clock gets, though, the less chance you have to really change your compositions around. And it's all going to come down to the value Doha can get on the Doomfist.
Crimzo, ready with a Coalescence. Now going to be using it. The Ice Wall splits them up. Bolted off to the high ground, but the Supercharger goes down. That's going to be pretty key for them. Prophetic Flux is going to connect. No one has the sound barrier on the side of Dallas. Closer doesn't have it yet, and that allows him to get a kill onto Note. Pretty big one, losing one of your tanks like that. Rascal just playing the line of sight. He has the Blizzard available, just tries to go for the freeze, but dodged out of the way. Doha in the back line. Rocket Punch does connect, but it seems like it is all San Francisco Shock. The kill feed lighting up in orange.
Ult situation, just to check in. Rascal still got that Blizzard for the final fight. They've got Strikers, Death Blossom, though that won't be as pivotal. And Moth, crucially, is getting up to his sound barrier, so that will be able to counter Note's Gravitic Flux. Dallas have got an opportunity here. Doha can play very aggro. They can trade sound barriers. They can go for a Flux. But Doha needs to find some value before the Blizzard comes out.
Gravitic Flux into the hold. Pulls them together, sends them down, slammed down. The Shock are going to be answering of a sound barrier, traded out equally, but Rascal goes down. This is an opening now for Dallas. Let's see if they can find it, if they can work with it. Doha in the backline, he has the Meteor Strike, he can play aggressively. Everyone is disengaging from the Shock now. They're just going to try and wait and try and take this team fight a little bit later. Choi into the backline. Moth, stunned, bashed up. You see them moving down. Supercharger from Dallas, along with a Coalescence. No one can contest, no one can get close. They're going to get this cap.
Moth with a bit of a late sound barrier. I think a moment of mistake from Moth. Yeah, a bit of hesitation there. He thought that his team would be able to survive inside the Gravitic Flux that came out from Note, and he popped it a bit too late. Smurf had already died. So, unfortunately, they weren't in a direct 6v6 for that final fight. Only 1 minute left though for Dallas, and this is a tough area to push on Rialto. Backline
Decay. He prioritizes the Supercharger once more. He's still a threat in the backline, but a Shock. The aggression is there. They've just sped boosted into their backline. Decay needs to come up big now. The shields are there to protect the rest of the San Francisco Shock with 45 seconds remaining. Dallas Fuel needs to just go back and rethink how they want to approach it.
35 seconds. Doha can play aggressive. Note has a Flux and Moth does not have beat, but there's Fluxes on both sides. So a lot of it could come down to these off-tanks. Note isn't known for his Sigma, but he's been playing well so far. Nice seismic slam.
Doha ready and waiting. He's going to play aggressive, but he gets brought down! Again, the accretion. He primed it. He had it ready and waiting despite the fact that Doha had the Meteor Strike. And now the Shock have that opening pick. Dallas are crumbling. They have to use cooldowns to just even get out of the fight. Chohyobin over the rafters. The Gravitic Flux takes out Gamsu. The Fortify wasn't enough to save him. They've wiggled their way around to the backline, but Moth is there to defend. Doe over the Meteor Strike, forced to half HP. Closer using the Soundbar, but it's the only player it connects onto is himself. And Doha, one man against the world, is not enough for now. The San Francisco Shock, moments away from taking this map away from the Dallas Fuel. That is going to do it as the overtime burns to a halt. San Francisco Shock going to even out the series 1-1.
Great response from the San Francisco Shock, but I would expect nothing less from them on Rialto. Escort is their best game mode all time. Over 70% win rate all time on Escort. And Rialto, we've seen just insane stuff from the Shock in the past. In my opinion, this game comes down to how well Dallas can perform on Assault once we get there. I'm already giving up the hybrid. If you're a Dallas fan, you're hoping that they win the Assault. Dude, I'm giving it up already. San Francisco Shock have an 80% win rate on hybrid so far in 2020. Just Dallas fans, you're praying for the Assault and you're praying for the tiebreaker. I think genuinely that is their win condition in this series.
Okay. Well, we're about to find out if Dallas Fuel can do it. Can they do the impossible? Can they take down the defending champions? We'll find out after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by ZipChair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League.
What's up, everyone? This is our game break presented by Pringles Wavy. I am Zoe, joining me are Costa and Reinforce, and it's currently 1 apiece in the match between the Dallas Fuel and the San Francisco Shock.
Dallas came out storming on Control. Granted, that's not necessarily San Francisco Shock's best map type to begin with. However, we don't want to take away from how good the Dallas Fuel actually looked like. Specifically, when they were on their comfort picks with Doha on Doomfist. Costa, were you impressed at all?
Yeah, absolutely. We came into today in our pre-show and we said, if the Dallas Fuel are going to win this match, I think it's Doha who needs to step up. Decay is obviously phenomenal, but Doha, we haven't really seen these like blow-up performances from him, but we have today. We've seen the Doomfist, we've seen the Soundbar, we've seen the Pharaoh, we've seen him play absolutely everything and play it to perfection, and it's been really good and sort of pushing the Dallas Fuel towards this win against the Shock. The issue that I think they're having, though, is if they ever get forced to play the Reaper or the Reaper May composition against the Shock, they're really struggling to win on the mirror matchup. So you see the Fuel trying to force it here and there. You saw them do a mass switch at the second point of Rialto. So they are forcing things here and there, but I actually really like the way the Fuel are playing right now.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that as well.
Reinforce.
I agree with that as well. I mean, they are looking really good when they can play those niche picks. But yeah, as you said, like in the head-to-head matchup, they're not looking as great as the San Francisco Shock. So I know we're building up this hype about the Dallas Fuel, etc., but in the head-to-head, they're not looking quite as well. But if they can get on those heroes, I mean, we talked about Doomfist, Sombra, etc., that's when the Dallas Fuel are really shining right now.
So what kind of changes do they need to make if they don't want to actually get into that mirror composition scenario where they are forced to play the May and the Reaper, where they just did not look as crisp when they went up against the May and Reaper from the San Francisco Shock? Do you think they can make the Doomfist Reaper actually work, or is that just not really a possibility when you go up against?
In my mind, it comes down to the maps, right? We'll have to see later down in the series, because I think that a lot of these picks are map dependent, and we saw that yesterday with the LA Valiant as well, playing that Ashe and playing the Winston, etc. It comes down to what maps you're really playing, right? So I think that over time throughout the series, we'll see what the Dallas Fuel go for, but it's very map dependent in my mind.
Now, as per usual, during our game break, we do have a crunch time presented by Pringles Wavy for you. And this one is, of course, going to be featuring Doha and his Pharah. He had an incredible barrage, but Reinforce wanted to walk us through everything leading up to said barrage. So please,
here we go again. Here we go again with the YouTube VODs. We're back at it.
Down the rabbit hole. Everyone take a seat.
So let's take a look at this composition. I mean, me and Costa, we were loving this when this came out. So Dallas Fuel, they're playing this very poke composition, and it's very, very similar to the Ashe composition we saw yesterday, right? Where they tried to create all of these different pressure points, playing these different heroes. You have a Pharah, you have a Hangzhou, and you have a Sigma. So there's a lot going on right here. But the San Francisco Shock, they're going to have a bit of a problem dealing with all of this at once. Because if we look at their composition, they are playing the May Reaper, so very close range stuff, and they're playing the Mora and the Lucio. I mean, there is no range to this composition. So how do they adapt to the Dallas Fuel playing this very high mobility type of composition with so much going on with it? So we can see right now they're grouped up and they're playing in this sort of area. They're very clumped up beneath the houses because they do not want to take that Pharah spam. That's what you really have to stay away from. But they do not stay in that house necessarily. Now, they are still playing on the outskirts at the doorway right here, and they find an incredible pull onto Crimso, and that's going to result in a kill. But what me and Costa really want to emphasize is how the Shock are constantly proactive. They're not standing around waiting for Dallas Fuel to come to them. Instead, they're being proactive about it and taking the fight to all the individual parts of the Dallas Fuel. I mean, this camera angle right here, and I know that Zoe and Costa can't see it, but I can see it, and it's a flawless angle, because you have Hans over here, you have Sigma over here, you have Pharah and Mercy over here, and then you have a Mercy over here. There's so much going on for the Dallas Fuel over here. So the fact that this comp just playing together can deal with this is so incredible to me. They're being proactive, so they're going to push into Note right here, because they realize if they just stand around over here, if they just wait and then just poke at the card a little bit, contest the card, that's not going to work with this composition. So the way they're being proactive with this close range composition and always rotating, always moving. I mean, you gotta find a pick onto Note, and now you're looking for other picks. Can we get a pull onto the Pharah and an accretion? Yes, we do, because this is a replay, and I know it's going to happen. Note gets resurrected. No, Moth is already onto it. Can we get Note again? He backs off, cannot get him. Okay, let's push forward. Can we find any other picks? Can we find a Hangzhou? Can we find a Mercy? There is so much going on here, and the fact that they're staying so proactive is beautiful. Now, it isn't going to work out forever. Rascal gets slept, some other things happen, and then, of course, Doha is going to hit that beautiful barrage that is going to nail point A for the Dallas Fuel here. But what me and Costa really loved about this was the fact how proactive the San Francisco Shock were and realized their win conditions. So there you have it. There is the Doha barrage, and that's essentially sums it up. But please learn something from the way San Francisco Shock played that close range composition, because that was beautiful.
All right, so proactive and reactionary plays coming out from the San Francisco Shock, taking them one step closer to maybe getting the W in this series. But it's still 1-1. We have a second half to go. So for all the action over on Numbani, potentially more for our play from Doha, we will find out anytime soon. And for all the action, we're sending it back to Sideshow as well as Bren.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League, and you're joining us at a monumentous time, I think, in the history of the Overwatch League so far in 2020. The Dallas Fuel versus the San Francisco Shock, and it's shaping up to be a good one. You're just probably joining us off the back of our game break. The scoreline 1-1. The Dallas Fuel versus the San Francisco Shock. Something I think that we weren't quite expecting here. The defending champions really getting pushed against the ropes in map number 1, battling back in map number 2. And now, Josh, we're going to be heading over to Numbani as a map. So a change of pace once more, but something that fits once again in the wheelhouse of the San Francisco Shock.
It definitely does, and that's the point that I really want to harp on about here, is that Escort and Hybrid are just so good for the Shock. Anywhere where their ability to put pressure on you with their Lucio speed boost is like down a payload section where you have to retreat, you have to give up space, and that space equals constant payload progress. That's where the Shock are so good at being able to apply that pressure. Even though they lost, Bren, to the LA Valiant and the LA Gladiators a couple of weeks ago, they have still maintained an 80% win rate on Hybrid this year. So even when they were losing, they were still winning Hybrid. And so that's a rough situation for Dallas Fuel to be in, which is why I said before we went to the Watchpoint break that I think Dallas Fuel's best chances are on Assault here. But you're not just going to give up on Numbani. You're still going to try and, put the pressure on them and see if you can win. And Dallas have been playing fairly well so far this series. So who knows? They might be able to surprise here.
Definitely curious to see if they can take it the next step. This is something that I've been making reference a lot, I think, to the Dallas Fuel fans themselves. This is something that they've been promised for the longest time, actually, is that this team would finally start to come together. And we're almost starting to see it come to fruition now against one of the very best teams in the world. But so we head over to our map, so you can see we're heading into Numbani, and this is a map that really just has Shock written all over it. You'd anticipate Shock to be the ones who are coming out on top when it comes to this map. But the Dallas Fuel, an opportunity for them to upset, an opportunity for them to surprise us here, especially with the way they've been playing, because I said it previously, it's not, it's not a cheese strategy that the Dallas Fuel are employing. There's no tomfoolery going on here. This is the Dallas Fuel playing towards their strengths with good teamwork to boot.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm hoping that the Dallas Fuel have something interesting to pull out of the bag. Not necessarily a cheese comp, but something that fits into Doha and Decay's strengths. Because that's when Dallas are playing their best. That doesn't necessarily mean the Doomfist for Doha. It could certainly mean the Hangzhou Farah, as they're hinting towards right now on offense. It's a very good composition at being able to break down the point A defense of Numbani. I don't know why Crimzo's saying that Striker's cut in the chat.
Because
maybe he knows more than we do.
He was playing Farah and he used his rockets to end his own life.
Okay,
so,
right.
Apparently that's a reason to cut Striker. It's okay though, he's playing Reaper, he's back in the fight now.
So Dallas are going to be looking for the same kind of stuff here, where they push their Farah and their Mercy probably towards the coast and do constant damage from behind, while Decay pushes up maybe on the top right-hand side from main. And they are trying to attract pressure from all sides, or rather apply pressure from all sides.
We'll see if Dallas Fuel have any chance, any luck doing that. As you can see, just playing it quite slow right now, waiting for opportunities. They're using the recon arrow. So the Shock actually moved forward aggressively. And the Dallas Fuel have recognized this and have gone to wrap around here. Shocker in the choke point. They're going to be able to get a kill here onto Note. The Immortality Field kept them alive for a short while, but they've already got a tick on the control point. And the rocket damage is still being flung in. The Accretion Halt, though, is enough to put an end to Doha's antics. Takes him out of the fight with that stun, and the Dallas should really just be backing off here, rethinking how they want to approach it.
Hey, they'll take that. Two free ticks. That was great work from Dallas, prioritizing capture point progress because they know that the San Francisco Shock have to stick together. They can't play split. The Shock comp does not split up. You must stay together as a team. And so when you're playing against a team composition like Dallas's that tries to stretch you out around the map, the Shock's answer to it is to stay together as a group and run aggressively into the Dallas tank line. The problem with that is you are going to give up capture point progress, and that is not something you can do at all anymore.
Damage being pumped into them from Dallas is absurd. Now, one of the keys to victory is going to be avoiding these Halt Accretion combos. Doha in the sky. He goes for the barrage and he finds a target. Can he find anything else? Smurf goes down. It's going to be the one-for-one trade. But Dallas looks like they're in a good position to try and take this one now. Rascal using the May wall defensively. He's eating a lot of damage though, and Closer manages to get the Resurrect and goes for the kill onto Choi. Pumping in damage. The pistol does the work. And Doha, with the help of his team being damage boosted up, they're able to just cleanly take this first point. That is the power of the Dallas Fuel's opening composition here. It's almost just a matter of time, it feels like, once they get those opening picks, that opening damage out onto the Shock.
Yep, but it doesn't work once we get to control. It's very good for the first part, for the capture point segment, because Shock have to split their attention a bunch of different ways and still put their pressure on the point. But once we get to the payload, then the San Francisco Shock can just work through all of these little side buildings and take a fight on the payload itself. So that's why Doha's gone over to the Mei, closer over to that Lucio, and playing much more of a mirror style.
Okay, still has a Dragon Strike as the defensive wall comes up, along with the Amplification Matrix and the Dragon Strike. But it's not enough. The San Francisco Shock just leap into the back line, leaping into the fray. They use the Blizzard on top, and they lock down the remaining members of Dallas. They played aggressively into their back line, and they're able to find these picks. And they're looking for more, honestly, but the wall just doesn't quite connect onto what they were looking for here. Decay has to use his Ray Form just to waddle out of there. He wants to try and survive this one, but the Shock are playing aggressively. Look at how far forward they're holding.
Yeah, very aggressive. Crimso's made the swap over to the Moira, so slightly more healing for Dallas.
Flux! Striker answers back straight into the back line. Death Blossom into the left clicks. It's all you need when you have the halt there to keep him in place. It's a beautiful set little play.
And the San Francisco Shock decide that the best defense is a good offense. Instead of utilizing anything to really block the Gravitic Flux, they turn Dallas's attention towards themselves with a huge Death Blossom in the backlines. Nice May wall here.
Very nice May wall.
Isolates Choyobin.
Again by Rascal, though. He answers back with one of his own. And Dallas have looped round. The positioning is almost in favor, I want to say, of Dallas. But losing Doha is not good. If they can take out Rascal, it could be salvageable. But Striker's really putting any chances they have in the dirt with that kill onto Note. He's taken out one tank and he's going for another. He's just saying hello to him. The Fortify won't save you for that long. Committing a Coalescence, though. Striker has to back off now. Smurf does end up falling. They're finding the pickoffs. San Francisco Shock biting off a little bit more than they can chew there.
I think they were playing with their food. I think the Shock didn't realize how quickly those spawners were going to come in for the Dallas Fuel, and instead were just kind of backing off and playing split. They needed to play around the payload to delay capture progress, because now the Shock are going to be hard pushed to recommit and stop point B. Only a couple of...
They're not going to go for it. Okay.
And that's because they made those mistakes on the previous fight. If instead they had played aggressive and died on the payload, they would have been blocking the objective moving forwards and could have gone for another push. Oh, they're looping around the top.
Going for a play right now. They're going to try and hold this one. Rascal's wall does not connect, though. They were looking to try and split a member of the Dallas Fuel away, but that's going to mean the Blizzard comes out. Along with a halt, it's going to lock Note up. Blizzard's traded out, but it's actually Doho who gets nothing really done with his own into the back line. They are able to get a kill, though, onto Rascal, which is better than nothing at the end of the day. We'll see now as Decay goes for the TP into the back line. Says hello once more from on high. Takes them out as the Dallas are able to quickly identify what they needed to do in that team fight.
And that time, though, because the San Francisco Shock pushed up top, they stopped the payload about, what, 10 meters before it otherwise would have stopped. So by playing aggressively, they've bought themselves more time for this defense, this final hold on the last stretch of Numbani. The problem being double tank ultimates and starting to get their DPS ults up here for Dallas.
Into the Flux, sends them up, sends them back down again.
They save the sound barrier.
They do indeed, and then they come out with a Flux of their own. They've got nothing to really counteract this. Can Troy get any kills? So this Supercharger's not going to be going down anytime soon. Gamsu keeps it alive, but now the Shock are unloading ultimates. The Blizzard from the side of Doha doesn't really get any value. The Shock are the ones who come out on top, utilizing Moff's sound barrier to really just get ahead when it comes to that war of attrition. The extra HP helping them.
Yeah, good work from the San Francisco Shock. They didn't panic and utilize their sound barrier there when they were all caught in the Flux. Great patience from Moth. Saves it to win the fight later on. That might be something that he'd like to have in the next fight, but they still have enough ults to be able to work with here. A really fast Coalescence charged by Violet should give them a bit of an advantage in what is otherwise a dry engagement. Bolt Reapers battling for high ground control. The Striker gets health from the rest of his team and realizes that Decay is quite far away from everybody else on Dallas.
They do notice, but the Shock are going to start to try and play aggressively now because Dallas have wrapped all the way around. Nice accretion in the back. Note falls low. The Coalescence just washes him down. Takes him out, and Doha is locked behind enemy lines right now. He's going for the right clicks, but Rascal finds him first with the freeze. 1 minute remaining. Striker wins the 1v1. Goes for the tactical crouch.
Wow.
Decay types ... ominous. Just be sleeping with one eye open tonight, Striker.
The Shock are doing well at rotating their ultimates around, and this is one of the greatest strengths of this team. They can play aggressive and beat you in the neutral, but also They tend to be pretty disciplined with how they use their ultimates. And Dallas don't really have any explosive potential.
Yeah, but the Shock.
Not so for the Shock, though.
Shock definitely do, as they went in with that supercharger. And you can see just the effect of that damage boost did a lot of work, but it's actually an even fight. Dallas could still win this. They're halted together, though, and the Prophetic Flux will connect, but stunned out of it. Huge accretion. Wonderful stuff from Note there. Negated that ultimate completely by himself.
And now all starting to go in favor of Dallas, so we could see an overtime push here. They need to get in position, maneuver their tank line forwards, but then they've got a Flux. Oh, Gamsu dies!
Gamsu dying is not fantastic, not great at all. And the Coalescence from Shocker will keep them alive. Blizzard comes into the backline here. Smurf waddles forward because he has the Fortify. He can afford to pressure them. Dallas are a little bit split here. Decay has to come out clutch. Soundbar going to be used now just to keep Shock alive in this fight. Dallas are the ones who are currently falling. Nice Moira Orb is going to be keeping Note alive here.
He eats the
desperately
Blizzard!
keeping him up, and he eats the Blizzard! Rascal, the game-changing ultimate, negated completely by Note. Note has had the most stellar last minute I have seen in quite some time on Sigma. What a carry performance from him. And now they're running this one all the way to the finish line. The supercharger comes out from Gamsu. They have the damage. Dallas will not go unrewarded. The punch comes out from Doha, and they will get the full completion.
Unbelievable scenes there towards the end from Note. Saves his team from a Gravitic Flux with a long-range accretion to stun up the enemy Sigma, and then eats Rascal's Blizzard in a scrappy kind of 3v3 situation. And that Blizzard would have caught everybody up before double support came up for Dallas. That was absolutely game-changing. Sometimes, when we see ults negated, it might not have had too much impact on a fight. That there was supremely clutch from Note.
That was so good. Honestly, so good. Plays like that, I mean, you love to see it. But, of course, Activision Blizzard and the Overwatch League are taking part in the Player Part Together initiative. We're proud to support the World Health Organization with this one to encourage all of our players, all of our gamers to play a part together. Because when we play a part together, we're using one of the most powerful preventative strategies to protect ourselves, our loved ones, and others. And me personally, I've been closely affected by this COVID situation back home. So if you are already taking part in this Player Part Together initiative, I'm very appreciative to you guys for keeping it up, and if you're not already, no better time to start than now, so you can always protect each other, and you're really doing a lot to prevent this kind of pandemic from really getting too much out of hand, more so than it already has. But enough about that. Here's this replay that we saw from Note. This was game-changing. I mean, look at this.
He's actually just trying to eat the attacks from Striker, but he whips around 90 degrees to his left and eats the Blizzard.
That is magic.
Unbelievable stuff. Okay, the San Francisco Shock on the attack, now running the Reaper Doomfist of their own. So strategies have changed sides here.
You see this Shock are going to be going aggressive into them, TP into the back by Striker. Looking for any opportunity they can to take them out, but Dallas are the ones who come out on top. That was a nice ice wall from Doha, but he falls low, forced to use the ice block. They're playing a little bit split here, but it still seems like Dallas are the ones coming out on top of the team fight. Now they're playing even more aggressively into them, seeing if they can take out Striker or Mop. They recognize, they can't really quite do it just yet. Just going to be backing off now, regrouping onto the point.
And you saw with that teleport from Striker, one of the biggest win conditions, one of the best ways to put your team at an advantage with the Reaper Doomfist comp is with a well-timed flank from the Reaper. And you do that, you distract the backline as your front line pushes in, but they dealt with it really, really well. San Francisco Shock have a lot of experience playing this composition. It's what literally won them the grand finals last year. But right now, Dallas are doing a good job at countering it.
Rascal goes in for the seismic slam, but it's too little too late. The ice block is going to be utilized by Doha just to keep him alive and standing in this fight. And the Shock have lost too many players to really stand a chance here. Doha with the icicles on point. Heads are being clicked. And again, another hold here for Dallas Fuel. Ultimates coming up online. But you could say the same now for the San Francisco Shock as well, if you look at what they've got coming up.
But the ults, I feel, are more advantageous for Dallas. The San Francisco Shock yet to get their tank ults up, and Rascal's not close either, so he can't play much more aggressive than he currently has been.
Quick wraparound now from Shock. The Halt is going to catch onto Decay. Force him down onto the low ground. Nice Blizzard, though. Note's going to get uppercutted. Slammed around, a Meteor Strike from Rascal. Does a bit of work, and he's going to re-engage now with a Soundbar from Mora. Prophetic Flux from Note going to be used. Connects onto one. Rascal did not have the Soundbar to save him, but the Shock still have an opening, but will be for much longer. Soundbar now going to be utilized as Closer wants to initiate his team in. Holt pulls them, but not quite. Doesn't connect onto the members of Shock, and Shock are able to disengage effectively. Best case scenario for them, realistically, and Decay caught out of position. Yoinked off of the high ground.
He wasn't expecting them to push back in so quickly.
Yep. And that was a disengage from Shock. It was picture perfect, and it's allowed them to try and take a fight. They've already got a cap now. TP into the backline, Supercharger. Nice little Death Blossom by Striker, but it gets cancelled, and Decay comes in with one of his own. Closest the one who steals the show, though. The kill feed will light up with his name instead. Really is showcasing some of the support line of Dallas right now. And the Shock
they are playing so well, Brent.
Going back.
They are playing so well. The coordination, the way that Guangzhou's Halts are getting followed up on. I mean, Decay there with a Death Blossom that took out Smurf's Supercharger and allowed Guangzhou's Supercharger to do all the work. This is Dallas Fuel, as we've always wanted them to be, contesting the top teams at their own game. There's only 40 seconds left here for the Shock.
40 seconds remaining. The Halt comes up, the Coalescence just to keep the team topped up. Violet opts to use one of his own as well. Choi using that Prophetic Flux. He tries to catch him, but he whiffs it. I don't believe it. He caught it onto the corner. Oh my goodness, that could be critical. And now they're trying in the final moments to make it work, but it's all Dallas for Dallas Fuel, burning strong, burning brightly. They're finding the pick-offs necessary. And with only 10 seconds remaining, I don't think anybody can touch the point.
Nope, this does not seem like it. What an incredible win this would be for Dallas. Choyobin in at the final seconds on that Wrecking Ball.
He's going to trigger it. The overtime starts to burn, but can anyone else from Shock even contest this? They don't have ultimates. Moth goes down. Striker has to back up to his team. The ice wall. Choi Hobin covers back in, but the players are falling one at a time. Choi almost frozen up, desperately trying to find an opening for his team. It's too little, too late. The Prophetic Flux might just seal the deal. And honestly, if we were in an arena right now, you might be hearing an eruption of burn blue, because the Dallas Fuel are achieving the impossible, and they have taken a map against the San Francisco Shock here on Numbani. What we didn't think was possible, leading the series now 2-1.
What a fantastic defense coming out from Dallas. The San Francisco Shock try and run their own strategy against them with the Reaper and the Doomfist. The strategy that took them to the Grand Finals and a win last year. The championship strategy for the San Francisco Shock. Altered slightly, but pretty much identical, and they weren't able to pull it off. The movement around, the coordination with all of the halts was so good from Dallas, and they now lead this series heading into the Assault map, which I thought was their best chance of being able to take a map. This is a supremely winnable series for the underdog right here again.
I gotta say, I'm absolutely beaming. You know, not a personal fan of Dallas Fuel, of the team itself, but a lot of the players I'm personal friends with, along with the Shock as well. And the fact that we're finally seeing the Dallas Fuel playing up to this potential that for 2 years, I'm going to keep reiterating it, every time that team has just said, you know, just wait, just wait, just wait. They brought in the pieces now. And seeing it click before us, I'm so happy to be commentating this match.
Yep.
But it's not over yet. We're going to see, can the Dallas Fuel do the impossible? Can they clinch out this match against the San Francisco Shock? We're going to find out after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, helping you stay connected to what matters most. Learn about T-Mobile's COVID-19 response on T-Mobile.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League, and we are in the midst of perhaps one of the best matches we've seen actually this year in terms of the level of play.
Yeah, it really could be.
I was reflecting on this during the break, Josh, and I gotta say, a lot of people are going to be looking at the Shock and they're going to be like, oh wow, the Shock are just playing badly again. Firstly, I think you're downplaying the credits there of the Dallas Fuel to actually take it 2-1 now, and also almost downplaying the Shock to a certain degree. Both of these teams are playing to a high level, a very high level. So it is really just magic unfolding in front of us here. And I gotta say, it's shaping up to be one of the best matches that we have seen thus far in 2020. And we're gonna be going into Hanamura next, which is the match, Josh, that you said, you said to Dallas Fuel, you said, you should give up on the hybrid map.
Whoa. I never said you should give up. I said just that you were unlikely to win the hybrid map.
But you said that Hanamura was the map that they were going to bring it back on.
Yeah, I really thought that because the Shock had 80% win rate on hybrid maps. They were 1-1 on Numbani. They were unbeaten on Eichenwald. They just looked fantastic on that game mode in general. But they got full held right there on Numbani. But Fuel have been good on Hanamura, and the way that this meta plays out, I think offers opportunities for Doha to pull out the Junkrat. And the Junkrat defense was exactly how they won the map last time these two teams faced off on Horizon Lunar Colony. Fuel also, last week when they played against the Justice, set the 4th fastest attack time ever on Hanamura. So they're comfortable on this map as well. They hold 3 out of the top 5 best times on Hanamura attack.
The Dallas Fuel.
The Fuel. Yeah. So this is a team that, despite not ever being able to play up at this kind of level, have still had moments and certain maps and certain pushes where they've looked good. So if they can tie it all together here, we could be in a world where they win 3-1 against the Shock. In a good meta for the Shock as well.
This is, make no mistake, exactly right. We're seeing the Reaper May, the double shield. This is the composition that the San Francisco Shock have been excelling at for months. And the fact that Dallas Fuel are taking the fight to them, not just playing up to their level, but exceeding them in some regards as well.
Shock this season have a 20% win rate on Assault. They have been poor at it.
Never a better opportunity for the Dallas Fuel to seal the deal here. Can they do it? Can they defeat the defending champions? They're certainly going to attempt it. Fuel fans from all over going to be crying, and Decay going to go for the Symmetra strategy. They're going to be TPing up to the top right here.
A lot of the time, Hanamura comes down to how much capture progress you can get on point A, not whether or not you can cap it, in total, because teams have become so good at full holding it in this kind of meta. So that's why Decay's going for a sim strat.
Icewar's traded up along with the Immortality fields, but it looks like Decay falling will put an end to this push. Dallas no longer really have the damage output to keep pushing into this here. Hulk comes forward. Any follow-up? Not quite. Closer will be the one who falls. And they're getting a couple of trade kills, which is always nice when you're on the attacking side of Hanamura, but the San Francisco Shock are the ones who are holding strong, so to speak.
Now, with a Symmetra, though, they can play fast here. As soon as Gamsu respawns and Decay gets there, they can teleport in and try and take another fight before Rascal gets to the point. Rascal still hasn't quite arrived with the rest of his team. I think he's just got back now.
But the TP is already in, and now they're going to be starting to unload a lot of this damage. Look at that! Deleting Choi Hyobin. The accretion makes short work of him there. You see the beam as well is doing enough. It brings down, but Moth gets 2 environmental kills! Are you kidding me? It clutches it up! Just when the San Francisco Shock were looking like there was a defeat, Moth comes out of nowhere from on high and gets a double kill with the environmentals.
That is unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Moth just saving them in their darkest hour. Because if Dallas managed to take point A, they're set up for a wonderful position for them to try and full hold on their defense. But Dallas back to the drawing boards. Moth is so clutch.
And he's escorting his teammates back to the point as well. Dallas going to be trying to play fast now. They have the big old sim barrier ready to use. They're going to be sending it straight down the middle, splitting the team up. The Hulk comes up on one side. Doesn't really connect onto anything. The Gravitic Flux now going to be traded by both these teams. Sent straight up, sent straight down again. The only casualty going to be Decay. A little bit too far forward here. And again, that damage output from Dallas is missing. Moving forward, we see the Blizzard going to be committed by Rascal. Uses the wall.
Oh, no.
He's going to be pinning Gamsu against it. And they're closer using the sound barrier.
They use sound barrier?
Not ideal. Dallas crumbling before our eyes.
This is more what we're used to with the Dallas Fuel. It sounds cruel, but Dallas have been chokers in their entire franchise history. And this is the kind of position where they tend to fall to pieces. I really don't like that sound barrier coming out from Dallas. And Decay as well. I don't understand how he couldn't get caught in the Immortality field from Crimzo. But that's how things go, I guess. Decay goes over to the Reaper and Crimzo on the Moira. Playing the mirror comp here against the Shock with 1 minute left.
Only a minute left, as you said, Josh. And they're caught Node out of position. And they've absolutely brought him down. No out. You see the Blizzard used by Dallas, but it doesn't find anything. Striker using the Death Blossom just to peel away from them, along with the Coalescence. Dallas have to back out of here. Might get a pick as well into Decay. Indeed they do. Not ideal if you're a Dallas fan. And now we're getting into the final fight territory. The Shock are in control. They have a sound barrier. They have the supercharger. They have all the tools necessary to shut down this attempt from Dallas.
Yeah, this is not looking good. Smells like a full hold here. They need to be able to find an entry. That's going to come down to a Doha wall, probably. And then the supercharger. But it's on both sides, and Moth has the sound barrier, so you can't just take a straight-up fight like this.
That's brutal. Straight in the choke point, they're just slapping down the supercharger. I mean, that's not the play. And Namroth using the sound barrier. They have the HP advantage. The Prophetic Flux is tearing through them. And the Dallas Fuel, they do not stand a chance. They shifted a couple of members onto the point just to try and squeak out maybe a tick, just to give them a glimmer of hope. But now, the only outcome is a draw or defeat for the Dallas Fuel. And Rascal, I mean, he could be typing anything. He could be evading the fine system.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't speak Korean, so there's no way that I understand what he just put. But I hope that it's something suitably
Striker says $1,000.
Oh, it's wonderful. $1,000, 10,000%.
Uh-oh.
$10,000. Okay, well, I mean, keep us updated on what that meant. Okay, but let's get back into the game a little bit here. Dallas Fuel had 2 fights there where they had ample opportunities to be able to win. The first one, Moth got 2 environmental kills. The next one was a crumbling where Decay died and then Closer wasted his ultimate. It fell to pieces. Is this where the nerves hit? Because Dallas here should be playing for the draw. If they can get a draw, it means they have 2 control maps to win this series. Not just 1. They have 2 attempts on control maps to try and win this series. But if they lose, as it seems like is much more likely, the San Francisco Shock could just take this all back on a final control map. Yep. I'm so surprised that they aren't running Doha on the Junkrat.
The San Francisco
I thought
Shock,
that was going to be the strategy.
I mean, they've been in this scenario before, and Crimzo switches over to Zen. He'll be running the Zen
Batiste Zen. Yeah, it's pretty good if you're just trying to poke them from a distance. They've got the Hangzhou as well. This doesn't feel like a full hold comp to me. You have to take risks to full hold an opponent. This is too safe.
A lot of damage being pumped in, and it is a safe composition. They use the ice wall. Rascal just wants to get his team into the fight. They're taking the long rotation around. They're going to be prodding for weaknesses in the composition, because remember, all they need is 1 slip up from Dallas, and the Shock are in. For 3. Nice little hold, pulls them down, and that is the collapse necessary. That's a collapse needed. Great opening here. The Skull Orb has enough damage to take out a couple of these members here, and they're able to collapse onto the necessary targets here now. Decay with a couple of nice little shots here, takes the 1v1 against Moth. Does not lose those, unlike me.
Decay is such a scary DPS to be going up against. His damage dealing capabilities on every hero are powerful, but the Hangzhou is certainly one of his better ones, I would say. And Dallas Fuel's advantage here is that it takes roughly a minute every single push for the San Francisco Shock. So they really only have like 4 good pushes, because they need to work their way in and slowly rotate around and deny high ground and all of that kind of stuff, because Dallas are playing a split comp. But as soon as the ults come up, they could just lose.
Well, Coalescence is used early. Gamsu has to use his Fortify, but Note gets yoinked off the high ground again. And Note's going to get brought down. Cannot eat up any of that freeze damage, just goes straight through him. And now Doha caught between a rock and a hard place. He will go down. No one is able to touch the point. Already half the control points. Gamsu has to waddle his way through the ice wall, but it's not going to be enough. The San Francisco Shock, with a blitzing pace, are able to clean up this map, and they're going to equalize it now. It's 2-all. We're really going a distance here.
I think Dallas have lost this mentally. I know that might sound strange when they were 2-1 up in the series, but they fired the Shock up, and I think they crumbled a little bit in that map. Yeah. That was not how I was expecting them strategically to play. They've had so much success with Junkrat in the past against May Reaper kind of compositions, and also May Symmetra kind of compositions, this kind of stuff. They didn't even try to run it. Instead, a slow-paced comp, which was inevitably going to fail in the end. And it all comes down to one final control map. And you can see from Striker in the chat, he typed at the end of that, "Let's go Busan, dude." They're
fired up.
Ready.
How many times have the San Francisco Shock been in this scenario? Where they've been pushed against the ropes in the almost the dying moments, and how many times have they brought it back? It's almost countless at this point. This is a team...
They don't choke.
They have been forged mentally in the strongest fires, in the GOATS meta, for goodness sake. You know, their mental is strong at this point. But we're going to find out. Can Dallas do the impossible? Can they win the next control map? Or will Shock take it away from them? And will they assert their dominance? We're about to find out after the break.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League. We are here in the final moments of the final series of the day between the Dallas Fuel and the San Francisco Shock. It has gone the distance. We are 2-2 as it stands. The Dallas Fuel moments away, potentially, from taking a win against one of the best teams in the world right now. The San Francisco Shock, one map away from potentially just shutting it all down. We're about to find out. So far, this series has really just exceeded all my expectations. We have seen some class Overwatch from both of these teams.
We really have. It's been supremely good. Dallas with a little bit of a choke, though, on Hanamura, and I'm worried, Bren. I'm not going to lie, I'm worried. Even though they won the first control map, the San Francisco Shock seems so excited to close out this series, and they've been here so many times before. I feel like... Is it almost inevitable that Dallas get our hopes up here and then disappoint us?
It couldn't be. That's
they can't
almost,
do it to us
that's
again.
That's almost too Dallas for even me to take.
It is.
You know, the fans have had enough. But for me, I'm not even a Dallas Fuel fan. You know, I just like a couple of the players, a couple of the staff. But if It's almost to Dallas if they lost in this fashion. But they're certainly going to try and avoid that fate if they can. The Shock, on the other hand, as you said, they're hyped up. They're ready. They're waiting. This is a scenario they've been in time and time and time again. When they've been in that map 5, that game winning or losing scenario, their mental is strong. It's uncrackable. It is a fortress that they've slowly built up. Krusty has built that fortress with his bare hands, brick by brick.
Yep. And Doha and Decay are looking to tear it all down. I think this will be a huge blow for whichever team. I mean, Dallas should reasonably be happy that they managed to take San Francisco Shock to a 5th map. But if they lose here, I think that'll be a bit of a mental blow for them looking forwards as well. They'll always be thinking back to that time where they could have beaten the defending champions. And same for the Shock. If they end up losing here after they just lost to Valiant and Gladiators and, you know, only just bounced back, starts to look a lot different, the San Francisco Shock season. Let's take a look, though. Both teams running the Reaper, but Doha on the Sombra. I love Reaper Sombra here. I think it's very powerful on such a big open map.
Very open. Great for getting those aggressive angles around. And if Doha can set his team up with a hack, if they can play aggressively into them, which Dallas Fuel did initially on that first map, that first control map, we may see a return to form here. Shock playing aggressively to halt. He's going to be clumping them all up for the time being. Any kills? Not quite. Nice hack on the Striker, though. Dallas can't really capitalize. An excellent disengage from Dallas Fuel. They're going to let Shock get the point, and they're going to bide their time and wait for an opportunity to see if they can get anything done. Shock, on the other hand, is going to be playing a bit of ring around the roses as the Coalescence gets built up. Closer, falling so low, and he just gets hosed down and brought down. The absolute laser beam just tears through him. Closer falling means that no more sound barrier now for Dallas. It's most likely going to be a lost fight. Or no sound barrier, I should say. No speed boost is what I meant to say.
Yeah. The very, very quick generation of that Coalescence from Violet aided them in winning that fight. Violet was able to get that up so much faster than Crimzo was because his team was aggressively taking the engagement and taking all of that damage deliberately. Whereas Dallas are trying to play a bit slow, wait for Doha to get hacks, wait for them to get the EMP. But I'll remind you that this is roughly the way that our first map started as well. And as soon as Doha was in position, they will win.
EMP gets unleashed, they take out Choi. With the hacks, they're able to claim 2 kills. The Shock falling down ever so slightly now as they're trying to recontest this one, setting a couple of players around the point, but it does not matter. Doha is there, ready and waiting. Picks up two of the kills, I should say, 2 of the eliminations going his way. Dallas Fuel.
I think they're actually leaving damage for Doha to build up his next EMP.
Feels like
because look, he's at 50% already, and they've only just won that fight. So his ult generation is super fast, and they're able to stay in control of all the rest of their ultimates. But San Francisco Shock have a lot of their own to work with here.
Coalescence going to be used very early on here by the Shock, but look at that Prophetic Flux. In the backline, it catches onto a few of them. Dallas answer back. Closer ended up using his sound barrier. Didn't really get anything done here. You can see the Blizzard now being utilized as well. Note, frozen up. The Shock in complete control of the situation. They knew how to play around the abilities and ultimates. And they do so elegantly.
Yeah. On our first map, the biggest reason that Dallas were able to come away with the win was because when they didn't have EMP up, they were able to use their ults to stay in control of the point. They didn't just rely on the EMP. They managed to combo all their other ults as well. They failed in that push. They failed to defend effectively.
Choi Hyobin using the Prophetic Flux now to try and engage, but now Doha comes in with a very, very, very fast EMP. Question is, can anyone clean up any of these kills? Rascal does go down, and they get the yoink back with the halt. Coalescence is going to be used to try and lay down enough damage to bring down Smurf, but Smurf, the peel is there from his team. He fortifies away, and he's got that damage reduction to help him get out of there alive. They're very, very close to bringing down Choi Hyobin, but again, he's there from his team, and they regroup. Dangerous scenario for Dallas. They needed to get a pick off there, and now they're going to be relying on Decay on the Tracer. It worked for them before. Can he do it again? He's working his magic in the back line. He's trying to get a pick off at least once or twice, but Rascal made the switch over to the Torbjorn just to try to it. Now we see the death boss of a Striker! 3, and despite the fact that the accretion stopped him in his tracks, too little, too late, and the San Francisco Shock going to be taking round number 1.
Beautiful flank timing from Striker there. Just phenomenal stuff. The Dallas Fuel nearly managed to get back into that fight. If Striker had not clutched up, that was looking like it went the way of the Fuel. But the Shock, much better this time at being able to respond. And Dallas couldn't stay in control of the point. despite the fact that Doha was blazingly quick to build up his EMPs, getting good hacks off as well, and EMPs were all excellently placed, the Dallas Fuel couldn't stay in control when he didn't have that key ultimate up, and that's the big difference maker right now between map 5 and map 1. The San Francisco Shock lead 1-0, and it just, honestly, Brent, it almost seems inevitable. The Shock are here to win.
Doha, though, playing his Doomfist, and this is a map that suits it, the mecha base. It's close quarters. A lot of walls that you can land those punches onto. Holt comes through.
Great wall.
Dallas, a lovely
stopped
wall.
his punch.
Stops a lot of the damage in its tracks. Dallas going to be still hunting for an opportunity with Decay. Falls to about half HP. Now Choi going to be sacking up a lot of that damage. Gets hoisted up by the uppercut, but there was no follow-up here. Dallas, they look a bit disjointed here. Choi gets punched back. The Holt comes through, but it's the San Francisco Shock are the ones who are getting the kills. Doha, though, answers back with the punch, but throws it up in his place and taken out by Moth. A very quick Coalescence is utilized very early, and it's enough to take down Note as well, meaning San Francisco Shock will be the ones who potentially take this point. I say potentially, but only because Decay was able to get a kill.
And a second, actually. So even though the San Francisco Shock have started ticking up the clock, this is going to go very quickly back over to Dallas.
Available as well.
Shock overstayed their welcome here.
Yeah, Gamsu's got to be kept up, though. If you lose him too early, it will just kill the push entirely. But yep, Dallas are going to be retaking this point now without really much on the defense from Shock. Now we're going to see that early Coalescence being used. Nice punch combo coming out from Doha, just sets him up for Gamsu to set up that kill. Along with the Holt, this is beautiful work from Dallas. They're using just their neutral abilities to take these fights.
Yeah, this is really well played. The peel for Doha is phenomenal. The rest of the Dallas Fuel pushing forward when he needs to pull back, giving him the heals, giving him the shielding when he needs it as well. And as for the San Francisco Shock, they're doing everything they can to stop him getting punches. There's walls going up to stop the punches. There's boops. There's harassment and damage and poke from all directions. He really is the focal player.
Prophetic Flux sent up. Moth, he can't use the sound barrier. He was out of the line of sight. But is it enough? They're going to use the Coalescence. The Shock are still alive in this fight now. Rascal with a Blizzard as well. Yoinking Decay back. He cannot use his Ray form. He didn't have it on cooldown, so he will be falling now. The Dallas Fuel probably looking to just get as much capture point as percentage as they can. Doha falling, the wall comes out to just try and lock them out. Dallas right now, they know they're not going to win this team fight. Their only goal is to just crank up that percentage onto the point before the San Francisco Shock end up retaking it.
Decay trickles his body on and they get it to 69%. That's nice. And the San Francisco Shock now in control with a lot of ultimates on both sides. Blizzard aggressively could be very powerful, and Doha has made a swap off. They're trying to play the mirror.
Trying to play the mirror.
I don't know whether I like this.
Well, we see it's going to be an early supercharger, and the Coalescence on Crimzo is just keeping his team alive. They force out the ice block. The supercharger does go down, though, and now it's going to force out the sound barrier. It only connects onto a few. Decay ends up going down. The Prophetic Flux, it's free. They already used the sound barrier to try and engage into this one, but they recap the point, Josh. That's the important fact right now. Dallas ended up re-flipping it into their favor, so what should have been precious time being gained for the San Francisco Shock actually went to the way to Fuel.
Yeah, that is really pivotal, actually. The fact that 10% swaps over means that they have almost a whole extra team fight that they just bought because of that flip. And the ult situation is starting to get better for the Dallas Fuel. Not that it's solved yet. Moth still has his sound barrier to be able to work with, and that's a great mate wall to split everybody else up. Striker with the Death Blossom.
Has the Death Blossom, unleashes it, lets it go, connects it onto one, and he's going to find it on another as well, just with the Hellfire shotguns. Great plays from the Shock, well executed, using the supercharger as well to win that one out.
Doha with a sad face in the chat. I mean, I think that he can feel it a little bit as well. He's been forced to move over onto the May, not able to play his signature hero that he's been doing so much work with in this series so far, but he's getting close to that Blizzard, and there's only really one fight in it. Oh, a little bit of a bait! Trying to bait out the May wall, but they still get stuck!
Crimzo gets caught out of position, but they still find a pick onto Rascal. Now the Prophetic Flux. Moth using the sound barrier in the nick of time, just holding it for the perfect moment to re-engage this one, but now they want to focus on the backline. Smurf will fall, but they need to get somebody onto the point. 95%, they start contesting it now, and they do have ultimates to work with here. Decay with the Death Blossom, they flip the point back over, 82%. The Shock realize that they can just regroup here. and wait it out, but this is going to be final fight territory for this round.
Closer needs to get this sound barrier up for his Gravitic Flux. Closer, 99%. He's just got the ultimate. He'll have it for this final fight.
Gravitic Flux gets nothing. Closer using the sound barrier, and it's going to be keeping his team topped up. But Dallas, they need to prioritize the right targets now. They're getting frozen up onto the high ground, frozen up onto the rafters, and they're falling like flies. Choi almost falling dangerously low, frozen up, and No beats him down, getting the kill. Striker gonna try and trade it out for his team, but he's frozen as well, falling very, very low. Ice block on point now, as Doa's gonna be using it to stay alive. Gravitic
Wonderful
Flux
boop.
used to send them flying up into the air, straight back down, no kills being found. Striker, he's hunting for the kills now, but Dallas Fuel, this is their lifeline, and they are not going down without a fight.
Freeze! Don't move!
What a chaotic final fight! That had everything! Just beautiful flanks coming out from Note to be able to take down Choyobin at the beginning. Both of the Reapers looking like they're almost in position to clutch. Death Blossoms, but both Lucio's saving boops to make sure that they found zero value. Wow.
Yep.
Dallas Fuel just by the skin of their teeth holding on.
That could have been a completely different scenario if there was someone to follow up on Choi's Gravitic Surge, or Gravitic Flux, I should say. It could have been a completely different scenario. Just a few
It all comes down to
minor
this.
plays, but as you said, Josh, it comes down to this, the final round now. Dallas Fuel versus the San Francisco Shock, 2 maps apiece, 1 round in the final map. This is it, do or die time. Dallas fans all over, probably holding their breath. Make sure to breathe. Just a casual reminder. The San Francisco Shock have been in this scenario before. They are probably going to be cool, calm, and collected.
A bit of a faster rollout there from Dallas because Decay was on the Symmetra, but it's all about positioning and how you rotate around these obstacles.
See the Ice Walk
There's the
used
Lucio
very
speed
early
boost.
on here. The accretion does not connect. Ice Ball, the Ice Block I should say, is pretty good, but Rascal kills Note. They're getting a few trade kills, but it's the Shock who come out on top, and I gotta say, you're running this mirror composition, the May Reaper into the San Francisco Shock. This is almost their bread and butter.
It does seem incredibly risky, doesn't it, from the Dallas Fuel? I expected them to be running something slightly different. The Doomfist can find value here. You could also play some kind of crazier dive composition, but we haven't seen that so far from the Dallas Fuel. At the end of the day, they are now playing into the Shock in their comfort territory.
Coalescence is going to be used now, a defensive ice wall from either side, just trying to split apart the enemy teams. No casualties as of yet, but the Shock are falling relatively low. Note going to be looking for an opportunity to get value with his Gravitic Flux. He sends it up, he connects it onto 3 targets. That's pretty good because Moth does not have the barrier. And the Dallas Fuel, off the back of that added damage, chunking away their HP, are able to just win the team fight out, and they are going to flip this point back over to them.
I gotta say, I didn't know whether Note was capable on the Sigma. He's the kind of player where we've only seen him have enormous success on the Diva before. Somebody that rose with the Diva, somebody that's played it most of the time. He hasn't been flexible across his off-tanks historically, but today, his Sigma has been lights out. He's been right up there with Choyobin, building that Gravitic Flux a little bit faster and turns the tide of that fight. It's back in control of Dallas.
Now we see the Gravitic Flux available for Choi, and they don't even need it to find the kill. Violet just finds it onto Gamsu anyway. Smurf's Supercharger does go down, but you can see Violet using the Coalescence. A little bit of a later one now from Dallas, and it is chaotic. Striker ended up using his Death Blossom on the low ground, was taken out. Still anyone's game. Moth ended up using his sound barrier, but I think this is going the way of the San Francisco Shock. I don't agree with Decay trying to clutch it in the final moments with that Death Blossom. Seemed like a bit of a waste to me, but the point is going to flip back to the Shock now, but that was scrappy.
That was incredibly scrappy, but Dallas had really lost the entire fight as soon as Gamsu died right at the beginning. Closer was walled off and couldn't get a sound barrier onto him. And so Gamsu falls over. You're playing a 5v6 at that point. And it was good from Dallas to be able to force out the ults, honestly. If Rascal still had his Blizzard, this would be disastrous.
It's used early. They're falling low. Choyobin's in the back line. He comes from on high, doing tons of damage. And he is going to stay alive. His team are able to peel for him. Doa finally takes him out. Still got to say, though, this looks like it is Shock's team fight win. And I gotta say, imagine if Decay had that Death Blossom available, if he didn't waste it and throw it away, could have comboed it up with the Supercharger, maybe gotten some value out of it.
Yeah, definitely. The Bongo Blossom, as it's known, is supremely powerful. Dallas Fuel are coming in here with a Flux. Again, built a little faster from Note compared to Choyobin.
But they have to get some value out of it. The accretion gets blocked. Note is safe. He sends it up, but only catches onto one. They collapse onto Gamza. They take him out. No one is able to touch. Someone's got to get there. They do in the final moments. Closer gets to it, but I think it is too little too late, Josh. 99%. The San Francisco Shock are rolling over them. They found the opportunities. They found the pickoffs. And the Dallas Fuel, they came oh so close. But in the final moments, it was not enough, and the San Francisco Shock are the ones who close out the series.
That is an absolute heartbreaker for the Dallas Fuel. Oh, it was such a close game, and Dallas played most of it absolutely incredibly. A great series from them. They should be happy about taking the San Francisco Shock at their peak to 5 maps, but I don't think there'll be any happiness over the faces of the Dallas Fuel players right now. That's a gutting way to lose a series that you were 2-1 up in the very final round. The San Francisco Shock prove that they are dominant for a reason, the defending champions for a reason, and come out with the win.
I cannot believe what we've just seen. I think the Dallas Fuel themselves are going to be gutted about that one, obviously. Coming so close. Probably going to be replaying that Hanamura map in their heads quite a few times, honestly, as well. Going back.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think key takeaways for this, if you are a Dallas Fuel fan, is your team look infinitely better than they have done starting at the start of Season 1, Season 2. Doesn't matter, because coming into this one, they are looking so much better. And this is a Dallas Fuel I was not expecting to see, but here we have. It was the Dallas Fuel that was promised, and they weren't able to quite do it just yet. But the Shock, I think as well, this really does highlight how comfortable they are when it comes to those down to the wire moments when it's so tense and you can tell the nerves starting to take place with the casual little mistakes here and there, but the Shock stay composed. And that's why, as we take a look at our player of the match presented by Xfinity, it is the one and only Moth. I think this guy is the central foundation, I think, for the San Francisco Shock's play. He is the reason why this team has so much success on a regular basis. It all comes down to his Lucio play.
Yep, it's about the speed boost, it's about the engagement, the tempo that the Shock can play at, but more just than that, his individual plays so far in this match were sublime.
So many clutch moments.
The Halt boop at the beginning of the first map to be able to set up the kills on Li Jiang, but then the moment that sticks in my mind is that 2k boop on Hanamura to stop the Dallas Fuel being able to take a tick, possibly the entire point, and that changed this entire match from being a dominant series for the Dallas to being a clutch win for the Shock.
Yeah, really, really well played to the San Francisco Shock. And I know Dallas, as I've already said, Dallas fans are going to be probably very disappointed with this one, I can only imagine. But the Shock, I think a couple of takeaways from this is still that I think people will look at this match, and if they look at it just from a broad perspective, which often some people do, and I get a lot of messages on social media from people who maybe don't quite look at the game as closely as others, but they often will make these sweeping generalizations, and they'll look at this scoreline and they'll say, well, the Shock almost lost to Dallas. Well, the Shock aren't really a good team anymore. I cannot stress enough how much this was the Dallas Fuel really elevating their gameplay, and just two very good teams going at it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. There really is nothing more to it than that. The Dallas Fuel have improved. They've closed the gap between themselves and top teams, and they're now a genuine contender in the Pacific Division.
Well, enough about us. We've got an interview. Zoe, I believe, has Moth on the deck to talk about how that all went down.
I do indeed. Thank you so much, guys. Moth, thank you so much for joining me. Congrats to your victory and also for the player of the match honors.
Oh, thank you.
Well, let's actually talk about the series we just got to witness. It came down to the wire. This one went the distance. Were you guys at all surprised that the ways the Dallas Fuel were able to actually step their game up?
Yeah, that was really impressive from the Dallas Fuel. You could see how well they adapted through the series. It's something you'd expect from a top tier team. They came out really strong.
So how did you identify your win conditions? Was it a genuine focus on Doha and his Doom and shutting that down? Or what went through your head in terms of the strat?
That was definitely part of it. We realized on the first map when we played against Doomfist that we were playing a little too aggressive and not paying attention to their DPS enough. So when they pulled out the Doomfist for Busan for the last map, we adapted and played a little more slow and pushed their DPS away before rushing.
Now, adaptation, as you just said, that's definitely the name of the game, even more so now than ever with the hero pools in place. But a team such as yours, with so many variables, you have so many players with such deep hero pools. What's the preparation like? Like, how do you actually prepare week to week, and how do you decide which players to field?
Krusty's always been amazing at giving everyone playtime in scrims leading up to a match, making sure he evaluates everyone's play style. Make sure he picks the best player for the role, and that changes from week to week. As you've seen, Shock's really good about utilizing all of our DPS players.
So do you feel like no matter what players you're actually fielding, the synergy is just always there?
Yeah, I definitely think so. It doesn't matter who we play.
Is that just in-game, or you guys just generally also get along with each other?
Yeah, it's both. We had a team house last year, and that definitely improved our synergy a lot because we spent every second together. Yeah.
That's good and bad, I guess. So I take it from what you just said that you guys are not in a team house anymore. What's the living situation like at the moment?
Yeah, we're in 3-bedroom apartments right now, and we have a practice facility.
Who's rooming together?
I've got Violet and Architect in mine.
I love that you just made that sound as if that's just a lottery. Like, I guess I got these guys. Were you guys choosing, or was that just randomly assigned?
No, the manager decided.
Oh, okay. Right on. Now, you do have a new addition this season, Ans. Apart from his incredible hit scan skills, what else is he actually adding to the team?
He's improving a lot, not just as a hit scan player, but as a team player. And he's coming in as someone with very little team experience, but I think Krusty's molding him really well into our other DPS players, where they can be leaders, they can be supportive, they can do everything. So he's developing really well.
That's fantastic to hear, and I mean, it's certainly showing in game with absolutely fantastic performances in the last few games we saw him. Now, one last question for you. You, of course, as the 2019 champions, you are the team to beat for many out there. But who is the team to beat for you guys? Who are you watching out for, and which victory would actually give you guys a lot of satisfaction?
I feel like the team we always have close matches with is Atlanta. I don't know if it's something about their playstyle, but they always seem to throw us off. Last year, we always had close games with them. I think they're one of our rivals, and it would be great to beat them.
Wonderful. Well, let's hope that is going to happen very soon. Thank you so much for joining me, and it was great to have you on the show. We're now heading into a quick break, and afterwards, we will be back with the Watchpoint post-show, so stick around.